prostrate, those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of God's protectors' heart, to tip of this fresh, pure white heap, curd-like cloud, O Losang Dragpa Dharma's omniscient King, pray come to this place with your disciples. In space ahead on thine throne, lotus and moon, venerable Guru, smile brightly with delight. Pray stay hundreds of eons to spread doctrine as supreme merit field for my mind of faith. Your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears. Your beauteous body, fame, glory outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear, and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit. Non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, I have heaped up since beginningless time, especially what has contradicted three vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice. Shut up mundane concerns, made life essence full. O protector from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. Venerable Gurus from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make Venerable Losang Dragpa's essential teaching specially shine forever. Igme se wei ter chen chen rizik, dream kien pei wang po jam pel yang, du Gang Chen Ke Pe Tsu Yen Song Kappa Lo Sang Grag Pe Jabla Sovade. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remain steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time. The Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, how should a child of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. That is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance and so forth, up to no aging and death and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. For Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying upon the perfection of wisdom become manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering since it is not false should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Gayata, gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, well said, O child of the lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the hosts of the three places Dakinis. Akasamaratsa Shadarasamriya Faith. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Through the power of truth of the exalted three jewels speech, may all on the side of negativity, such as the four Maras, be stopped. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shanti Kuruye Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, freed from adverse harmful conditions. May all be conducive in perfect auspiciousness. Bring happiness and well-being here, right now. Saji Perki Juxing Me Wei To Tramri Rabling Ji Ni De Yin Padi Sangye Jingdu Nikte Oar Gidro Kunam Dak Jingla Chur Parsho Jetsun Lama Dampa Kyenan Ki Chur Koi Kalam Kien Se Trindring Name Jitat Sampe Dunjed Zinma Lahazab Gecherki Charpawab Juso Idam Guru Ratnamandalakam Niryatayami Churdang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Badu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chernyen Gi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Druparshu Churdang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Badu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chernyen Gi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Druparshu Churdang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chernyen Gi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchi Sangye Druparshu.
Yes.
Because the one who is good. A lot of people prepared a lot of, what's that? Sand? Salt, right? They prepare all the business to prepare the salt. They got job. Bad for our card, but they got job. Then second also very good for environment. Environment? Right? In a lot of water. And for us a little difficult to shoveling, clean the car, stock down the snow. But it's nice, First we get snow, we all exciting. Then a couple of times then we bored. It's nature, right? It's change of suffering. Anything happen first, we exciting. Then we be bored. We become bored. Oh, too much. Oh, again. Anyway, I'm very happy to meet you again, see you again. Also, very wonderful, very great opportunity for all of us to again study together 2015. Also, we were going to study the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. Did I say correct?
Yeah.
Good. Therefore, it's a very great opportunity for study like that kind of teaching. Like this text, I think maybe they composed 8th century. It's long time. I think since that maybe best text to study Bodhicitta. This best text. Then they translate for Tibetan language. Usually the Tibetan have 4 different lineages, Buddhism, right? Nima, Kaju, Sacha, Gelug, everyone knows, right? Usually they all follow same Buddhism, about Buddha, but also their own different lineage, transmissions. But this text, we all study. If you Tibetan Buddhism, they all study. It's common. Even His Holiness the Dalai Lama say he got main imprints for Bodhicitta after he studied this text. He received also this teaching from the one Nima master, Kunala Matenti Janso. And when he teach, then always give the kind of source transmission. Quotations, a lot of quotations. He always mentioned, this when since he studied that, then he got more. Of course, he really elaborated, but he shows for us, he got more, experience for Bodhicitta. Therefore, it's not very difficult. It's still difficult, and not that difficult. It's a non-chapters difficult, but another chapters. If you serious study, it's not very difficult. But therefore, I'm also very glad, honored to discussion with you, or study with you this. And so also I have full transmission from His Holiness Dalai Lama many times. Also my teacher Geshe Tenley, also from him also maybe a couple times. Therefore we have all unbroken commentary. It's commentary or unbroken lineage. Therefore, Tibetan tradition, Buddhism, is an unbroken lineage is very important. Right now, example, His Holiness Dalai Lama going to giving 18 different Lamrim texts to give the commentary. 18 is a look at it through. Lost some 3 years, still not finished. Therefore, very important to all the monks to receive the unbroken lineage from some person have full transmission. Therefore, we try to give all the monks. Therefore, Tibetan lineage, Buddhism lineage is a full transmission is very important. If you got full transmission unbroken, then also you get all the blessing from all the people's lineage, Juba. Then we say, what's blessing? I don't get, always I pray Buddha, I don't get any blessing. You guys feel that? What is blessing? The blessing means not something too solid to give you. Some like piece chocolate, not like that. Shalom to bless Chibaru. Right? When we have some long life initiations, that time they give some pills, right? Some milks. This is not blessing. Even the Tibetans say the blessing. If you don't get the pills, then you don't get the transmission, initiation. But this is the source thing for the long life initiation. Substance. Real, the long life initiation is you understand the meaning, the initiation. Then you chip some grit or some positive minds. Therefore, now we say, please blessing Buddha, please blessing Buddha, not Buddha. Blessing means something change your mind. For example, I don't know if you have last week or maybe this morning, maybe yesterday, say, tomorrow I'm going to listen to teaching center. If you are thinking that mind, this is a blessing. You understand? Then some teacher or someone who or she advise for you, then you also interest or you like do that things. This is a blessing. Blessing is a good blessing, bad blessing. Sometimes I say, we are bad blessing. Someone, maybe you plan to come here. Then someone say, no, you can go next time. Today we can go to maybe go to sky, how you say? Skiing. This is skiing time, right? Yeah. And then you might say, yeah, that's true, I'm going to do in July. I go there. This is a blessing to, non-virtuous. Of course, this is not bad. You go to ski, this, I'm not saying this is bad. But compare to listen, teaching, and play the, ski, the teaching is more important. The skiing is just enjoy a couple hours, then you also sore, correct? If you're not good to also you're walking your leg, right? Like that, blessing means not always good, good blessing, bad blessing. Therefore, there I mentioned, you get all blessing from lineage, all the unbroken lineage from Buddha to enter now. If you have unbroken transmission, that you study text. Therefore, Tibetan tradition, the transmission is also very important. Therefore, then now I also like unbroken lineage transmission, then we study together. All of you also interest is very great. Then study, that context, Buddhism study means not like something you study to a college to give the people a lecture. Maybe you make something new, then you give the lecture there, it's done. Everybody, just listen, then just finish. You also live there, right? The Buddhism study is here to do again and again, more, thinking more, all the time. Therefore, try to study, thinking more. Then we teach here also, not like exactly the same than the monastery they teach the students. They can teach them for us, just, we'll talk about it. It's difficult. My teacher Geshe Tenley always said that. Western, we teach for Westerns, and the monastery, we have to different way. Because monastery, they always study, 24 hours, like, many years. Here, 2 hours week, all right? Then, not much time. You need to do something to solid something to what you study, then how can I practice like that? In monastery, they debate a lot, or they go to more details, and also they compare many different texts. Therefore, very different to study monastery, and we study, discussion here. We try to hear how much we can to easy understand people, how much they can practice a little more easy way, something to give examples, Other words, all of you, one hand, you guys are very great, I'm very happy. One thing is just completely new religion. Second is difficult language, right? Completely different idea. You all have different idea when you grow up. Now you just change. It's very difficult. But still you guys, more effort, try to. Therefore, there are a lot of benefit. If you study Buddhism, I always say, you don't need to become Buddhism. Just study. You can get some benefit there. That's enough. Of course, you can do it, your choice, but not necessary. Therefore, study. The Tibetan text has also one part. There is only Dalai Lama divide 3 categories. One is Buddhism of science. Maybe Nachu Thirik, Nachu Tadrup, and Nachu Nyamnes.
So, Buddhist science and Buddhist practice and Buddhist view.
Right? This, we all here. I'm here Kanjur, but I just show here. I don't study there. We have all things there, but we just leave that. But all the inside there. Now, the scholar Geshes also the concept of putting to tune. And also that and Nami Circle Depsade. That's not the Chinga Tansaris or the Indian Upa let Santo cover. One Nami Circle said.
So there are some books composed or written by some Geshes and teachers about Buddhist science. Those are the teachings of Buddhism that relates with the science, and those are the teachings that are extracted from these volumes of scriptures. So they were extracted from these great commentaries like the commentated teachings of the Buddha, and then combined into these books. There are 4 or 5 books now. And so those kind of books, if anybody studies that, will be of great benefit to anybody.
로와 다 뒤에 징한도 즉 다까지 세리베게 가리 먼저 딱 문제 제거를 간다 가리 다 최선도 다 신이 보도도 시 도도 그 중금도 건도 다 찍다 그러was 니나라 좀 나샘기 로다 가리 받아 방송 그래서.
So in the general science, it mostly explores about the physical things, the external physical things, but here it mostly explores about the internal mind.
어디 아니 남배 따를 써야 되다 바지 다 남배 따르다 남배게 된 냠랭 거다 간지 또 남바서 시에는 이제 다 소리 냠잖아 초초를 해서 놓잖아.
So that can be studied by anybody in the world. Then other part, of the Buddhist teachings, like that relates, with the view, and that relates with the practice, Buddhist practice. So that is mostly for the Buddhists, but of course, there is a benefit if anybody else also practices them.
Okay. 어떤데 다 된데 인자 다 만도 지금 자세 진보 쇼발라 아세야 되고 공고송 순주 진보 아니 다 로종 냠미치 쇼마데 샤라 까와송 버레스.
And so we're going to study this Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, composed by Shantideva. So we are very, very fortunate to be able to study this.
아니 남주 만도 로는데 가서 추크 뜻마시 비전 대바고 차와서 추데 그 뜻모여야 되면 다 대바고다 가니 맞다 그러와서.
And so just like in the the main division of the Lamrim, where it is mainly divided into 4 sections, and at the beginning it talks about the 4 greatnesses, the greatness of the author, to show that the teachings that he is teaching is authentic. So that here we have to explain or discuss a little bit about the author.
대리다 자세 좀 쇼발을 써야 돼 아니 자기 아니 날렌데 벤데다 되는 게 바래서 코인죠.
And so Shantideva is one of the great scholars of the Nalanda monastery at that time.
임바야나 다 콘든데 벤데다 임바티 아니 다 코노서 다 날렌데 슈딩이 괜히 봐서 싫어 공통고요 말더라.
So although he was a great scholar, but he didn't expose it, so people didn't see him as a scholar, as a scholar.
대단 간도 산지에 빼잖아요. 미리모 나라요. 딱 그러면 싫어요. 딱 그러면데 싫어는 빠빠드는 동거를 왔어. 미 난가 섬서 가니까 다 나로마도 시 남자들은 가서 똑똑 말했어.
So as it is said by Buddha, that the picture of a person, a human being, is inside. A picture of the tiger is outside. The strips, the tiger has, that's outside. So the picture or the drawing, and the tiger is outside. The drawing of the human being is inside. So what kind of knowledge or the realization the person has is inside, so it cannot be seen by people from outside.
삼성 땡고리 표송도 왔어. Geshe Tenley 개파 연도에 카마곤 지시주 아니 하고 그래 송도 왔어.
So just like His Holiness also sometimes says that whether the Geshe is a scholar or not, you can find out by letting him, face down to the audience and speak.
대마도 시단이 준도보강 돼야다. 도로주보 거야다. 아직 가서. 근데 그때는 먼저 메딩 개파이 봐 똑똑 말아봤어.
But from outside, having the title of the Geshe, or behaving well, or dressing properly, the monastic dress, and dressing properly and so forth. By seeing that from outside, you can't tell whether the Geshe is a scholar or not.
어떻게 배차잖아. 난 잠블이랑 가서 시단 나주 랍자 자도데도 만도 시단 잠블이 놓던다 빼 더머 들어와. 완전 잠블이들이야. 배차 뎁시오나 뎁테 다 쳔보도 인데메데도 뎁저 등에다 딱도 왔어.
So the Buddhist teaching and the things that happens in the world are very similar. World, nothing to do with the Buddhism or any religion, but in general, whether the book that's famous or not, or good or not, depends on who wrote the book, right? So people will look at the author of the book.
Right? 다 누구가 뎁그는 게 제자들 따가도 제자들 가면 뎁 제주도 마녀들 따가면 뎁그는 게 제자가리고 따가도 왔어.
So what they're looking at is the subject matter, of the book also, right? Not the number of the books, number of the volumes of books, or the how thick or thin the book is. Not that, right? But the subject matter.
Pechashana, example. Who did the manager of the iPhone? Steve Jobs. Right? Patana ko chim mit but kem do asena migangi ko hasang do ko lega dia karna ko lega de pe mit mich ka ro ta manda was che wan migang hasang de do was ka ki shale ta ne.
So looking at him, physically, he doesn't look that magnificent, right?
Right?
He's like a normal, simple guy, right?
Yeah.
But people respect him. People, look up him. Why? Because of his knowledge, right?
Not secondly, we just all brothers talking say that, okay? All the Americans, especially the ladies, see the rich get, everybody become crazy, right? They say, why? They pachi tangazo karo they chak on do it was.
Out of attachment, right?
I think so. I don't know. But right when he's only teaching some place, some to check it, he introduced for his Dalama. Then everybody says very, loud. Then you get the handshake for Richard, then says, oh, I got blessing. But I think this is a part of they don't, no other just things. Because he's famous, then just attachment. I think the street boys are John.
Job.
And Steve Jobs, people looking for his job, right? What he did. Then he's, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, he's only the Lama, people looking for what he did, what he wrote. Therefore, there is a time she taken Manzu Shetang Rotan down Sanjay Shungma, Lavijan, the Chipan Wing to Bataneza, Kanji, Sanjay Songanaya, Miss Sudosa, a party Janing Mares, and it Teo Tambasa de Kawai Shingamares, so the Toban Toji, you are not tell us to change your Vana, Susan Papadam Basagari, and the Kangaraya, Donna Tanashan or the song was.
So, like Buddha said, we can't tell who the person is, right? So you can't tell who the person is, and without knowing, even if that person is a holy being, you can't see that just by looking at the appearance of the person, right? And then that way, sometimes just by looking at the appearance, we might say something bad, and it might end up, criticizing a holy being, which is a very heavy negative karma, right? And so, we should always try to see a pure aspect, of everybody.
Well, today the time should you chimo sumo and just chimo shawalate, and it's Nalendra Gomen and Rotajana, the cook machine and trepto, and then this is about what's the Colomino Dasher.
And so Shantideva at that time at the Nalanda monastery, nobody knew that he was a great scholar, and so they all see him as lazy, sleeping all the time, and so they gave him this nickname called three discriminations.
Saya, Nya, Taya something Maresro.
And so it's just the three discriminations, like eating, defecating, and sleeping.
And the Kongadina Tango Shanjo Simpani Yamajinita, partner, that's some good one with her. And partner illegal Namje and Nachi, Tanachi, and Kapai Sonovic, Yosamar was.
And so he always, appeared, to be sleeping all the time, but internally he was maybe practicing bodhicitta all the time, even while he is sleeping, right? And he was looking very simple person, so nobody, really thought that he was, he would be a great scholar.
Tende is a tad Nalendra Sanji Lusolaya and Yaka Dawani the Shagadalaya Trawaso, Solondo Shoma, Yani Deco, Tikalaya, Tapenda the Chaton, Mito Bonner, Chushiko was.
And so during the Buddha's time, they established, this time, for a retreat, and they, during the summertime, and they call it the summer retreat. During that time, they're not allowed to leave the monastery for about 2.5 months. And during that time, all these the senior monks, were given a turn, to go and teach.
And the ta lochila da ganje ta jadi chimo shawala ta ridin ko matu peli china ta min ko ngor was. And kundula ta lochuma ko ta tembo yor ta ko kadina nyede lo chig mar. Ta ku shamde shigre ne kundu ko ta da jene. Ne shote ta pemezun tombo ijap otu che ta tari jene kundu gugde ores ro.
And so, these people, different people take turn different years. So then, one year, it was his turn, to give teaching. So they all said, now he's, he's not going to be able to teach because he doesn't, study. He, sleeps all the time. He's going to, create like we say, create a scene. He's going to create a scene. And so let's all go and have a look at it, have fun of it, make fun of it.
Ani da ko pe ko na shuri do pe do na ko tambo ani shuri la sha som se ne ani shuri ka la pa cha na lu shuri de ma chong pa sha so.
And so to make him feel ashamed, they like even built a throne very high that you can't possibly climb on it. And when he came by, he saw this high throne, and he just raised his hand and then pressed on it, and it came all the way down, to the ground level where he can sit.
And tejo da ani kange o ta ko ju ma da do sam sam la chi. Yes.
Then immediately, just by seeing that first sign, they all sort of, had some feeling towards him. That, oh, he must be something special, to be able to do that.
And that should have shown that culture, that Nima San gave it among Kebatri, soon Savage Mass with the Antu Savage Lamko, and Condelavares.
And then after he sat on the throne, and he asked the audience, what they want to listen to. They want to listen to something new or something that have been already taught by the previous Buddhas.
And
so then they said, we want to hear something new, something new. They know that there's nothing new, right? But just teasing, as a teasing, they said, we want to listen to a new one.
And then ta kungu shonju te and gone ma ta ngator ba and ta choyo.
And so then he started to recite this Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life, by heart.
And it ne shonju level chevega parato level kala ani ya thorto nam perchmares.
And so as he was teaching, then he started to fly in the sky. And when he was about to read, the chapter 10, he, disappeared in the sky.
Ani kanga tapesa tangazo kola ka tankaji de pasasa kanga njobashi ani penda kashi kujulam ponna do was ani kono songi penda the tiki ani ta namkala ya kanji ngamapo ani ko jaga lojolam person res.
And so then people felt very bad that they've been criticizing, saying bad things about him, like the three discriminations and so forth. And so they all regretted so much for saying those bad things, and remorse, that they have created so much negative karma by saying those things. And and then also there are other scholars, who also were highly realized, who can fly in the sky, and then they also flew with him, following him, and writing down whatever he was teaching. And then at the end, he said that he flew up, and then he disappeared. Then later he landed in south of India.
Ani shonju nala ya pe shemadre te is lawa kene te bala sumata te ne namanda yote. To so ta constant pe shemadre tsum ya da resame. Kor ke jete ta te bes. O yo ngama nga de sa ka kambe na ya. Tibi bala to ya chusha yos pe jete ta dos. O te ne pe ja shema mambo. Ani tsomna tundu niwa. O te ne bares ro.
So he has also, this is in the verses, so he has also written the commentary to this text, and it's called the Compendium of Training. And then they asked him if there's any explanation about these verses, and he said, yeah, there's this scripture that I have written. It's called Compendium of Training. I have stuck it somewhere in between the walls, in his room.
뭐들이 다 간지 된지가 아니 샹주고 셈 다니 샹주고 셈 냠내제 되가 다 송 아니 슈슈 침보서야 돼 말해서.
And so this is the great teaching taught by such a great being like Shantideva.
아니 슌줄라야 다게 아니 벤데텐 데와 파진 데와 쮸스 요서레스 아니 베베가 아니 데와 파시 숨주 소직 손이 요서레스.
And so there are so many commentaries of this teaching, the Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life. And I think it said there are about 10 commentaries commentated in India. And then there are about 30-something commentaries commented by the great masters of Tibet.
아니 다당 얘가 달내 제대 당원도 쇼네 아니 다 제위자서 담아지 공급송 아니 슌주 다지스 디도마 아니 나도 쉬어 있으러.
And so what I'm going to explain from, is the commentary composed by Gyasa Rinpoche, one of the main disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa on his right. So this is called so this is the commentary composed by Gyasa Tamarinche that I'm going to explain from.
Okay. 되지. 아니 다 슌주기 제자로 채나 제자 쪼대 다 파신 두들에 들어와. 쪼대.
And so the main subject matter of this text, Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life, is the six perfections.
들어와. 아니 슌주기 아니 샹주스메 쇼발은 주바스 담 나도 백이 데려와 슌주. 슌주는 다 쉐바티 주스나 때려봐 쉐바들어와. 샹주스메 쇼발은 주 샹주스메 가르치게 돼서.
And so it says a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, so how we are guided, to engage in the Bodhisattva's way of life, right? So there are also other different name for this text, that's called engaging in the deeds of Bodhisattva, engaging in the deeds of Bodhisattvas.
아니 샹주 삼발 내가 숨래 숨. 아니 당보대 주비샤와. 니바데 드비샤와. 담아데 다 내가데 드브네 다 내가데 드비샤와 서와.
And so there are three things, the three deeds the Bodhisattvas. So the first one is the deeds of engaging in the practice, and then accomplishing the practice, and then after accomplishing the practice, accomplishing it to bring the fruits or the results of that practice.
가르에서나 샹주 셈바소 예지 된도 샹바다 니제 아니 되니 냠내 쳐버린 죽을 해서도 된 죽이셔야 되지.
And so the first one is engaging in the deeds, to benefit the sentient beings. So it's in the deeds of benefiting sentient beings out of great compassion and loving kindness.
다 샘제들 텔 주는 건 아니 발신 쪽이 냠내 쳐야 돼. 텔 아니 드비셔야 되지.
And then so that's how they engage. Then what do they engage in? Right? What kind of deeds do they engage in? And then they engage in the practice of the six perfections. So that is the accomplishing.
아니 다 발신 두 냠내 때문에 타락하지 타락 산지 공부 돕그래서 어때 드비셔야 되지.
And so then through practicing the six perfections, what he accomplishes, is the state of full enlightenment.
Okay? 단디 슌죽은 제자 도도 되더라. 도도라고 돼.
So that is the brief, so the subject matter, of the Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life.
Okay, then finish. 어디지? 근데 다 내면에 만데 해야 되고 가세지 가가세 세세라고 시. 아니 제대 아니 저와 같이 책이 아니 렌즈 좀 해야지. 간토도 녀레 아니 로종 제 잡아 되게 냠내 제도 봐야 되게 좀 싫어 그래서.
So from my side, I will, try my best, to whatever my knowledge is, to explain this. And then from your side, you should, make any effort if possible to study and to put it to practice.
But 샹주 셈바사데 아니 베글라 파워라데 미리 파워라스. 샹주 셈바 파워레스.
So sempa, so sem means actually the mind, pa actually means a hero, like a heroic mind.
그러. 딱 가르치는 샹주 셈바 강달라 파워스르나. 공안소 깨네 다다가 받으시. 동아 짱짱라 향이 그 뇽모보다 가대 짜네. 대라 갑디 짠 딱거는 중디 잠네 토바인자 다 빠오차서 버려서.
So that mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta is called a heroic mind, and that's because because this mind fights against all those delusions and delusions that bring all the sufferings. Right? Since that from the time we were born till we die, all the suffering that we experience, the mind that brings that suffering, and so this mind fights with that mind. Therefore, it's called heroic mind.
맞아. 남들이 노동하야자 미치가 다로 오무사는 밑에 빠오르려고 그러고.
So those mind that bring all this suffering, is the enemy, right? So enemy mind, So if we fight, to that enemy mind, then that mind which fights with that enemy mind, is a hero mind, right? So just like in this world, we say people that we consider as our enemies, so whoever we, send to fight with them, those people are called heroes, right?
And the person was and 단소 로드 치바잖아. 로세바드 치바레스. 라마롤라 세바고스. 그창 세다마도 거니마지 신도 그래서. 중간에 바오이나 다 녀모바테 세고리 녀모도 며 체고 그래서.
So those enemies, from the outside, the people, who cause you harm, there is no point killing them, Even if you don't kill them, they're going to die eventually. So it's as same as killing the corpses,
Yeah.
And so if you are really a hero, then you should kill that mind, If you kill that mind, which brings all this suffering, then you're a real hero. Others, other heroes who kill the external enemy is, like killing our corpses.
오다나다 단대가나 샹주도 쇼발은 주바드나 샹주 셈비가 다그로 가지. 밀레칼란 주당 가리레스. 내가 시게레스. 다로로 와서 도도로 고대오르잖아.
And so now it is pretty, simple, right? Guide to the Buddhist way of life or engaging in the deeds of Bodhisattvas. So engaging in the deeds, trying to practice or do whatever the Bodhisattvas do, right?
다들 자가게도 보디티다 아야따라 아야가라 아와따라스도 다들 자가게라 자가게 심은 문인데 다들 계속 와 되는 다 층되면 샤마 자가 벽에 제시하러 와 아니 내 샹주선배 벽을 되잖아 다 샹주서 쇼바는 주바세.
So in the Sanskrit title, Sanskrit language, the title of the book is called Bodhisattva Charya Avatara. So Bodhisattva Charya Avatara, and then the word it is when it's translated into English is says engaging in the deeds of Bodhisattvas.
What? 당가 도와주지. 단 마모 고들 때 저도 마모 고를 와서. 근데 다 마모 고요래서. 근데 배치니 가라는 자켓도 샤고지서 가르래서나. 안데 나도 자사 로를 찾아도 그랬어.
So now I have a challenging question for you. You have heard this many times, so it's no more challenging. So what is the reason for putting the Sanskrit title in the text? What is the purpose of putting the Sanskrit? They put the Sanskrit title there, right? They say in Indian word, they say, or in Indian language, and then they put the Sanskrit words there. What is the purpose of putting that? We don't understand it anyway, so. Huh?
The sound, the transmission?
Transmission.
대말. 다다하고는 다게 뭐
Yeah.
된도스리야.
Margin.
To show the lineage?
Huh?
To show the lineage?
Lineage. You got the answer.
내가 되는 바게 되는 고정으로.
Yeah, you can understand that. Maybe you had something?
It's okay.
You had?
Lineage.
Lineage, so never you would say.
유시오세대 내리줘서 나도 가서 아니 대지도 군대를 지었어. 내리지를 하시고 왔어. 세계적인 말다. 남지바로 대지 군대를 지었는데 뭐야 그냥 그래서. 지바로라.
대주 공부들 왜? 이길라 빠져셔야 돼.
오늘 대지 군대마다 길을 빠져서 보니까 열어봤어.
So, or in order to show that this is an authentic scripture, and also because this is from the India, right? So the Indian scripture translated into Tibet, and then when you put the name of the Sanskrit, the Sanskrit name of that text in the Tibetan text, then that shows that this teaching is authentic. And you can say, yeah, it's to show that it has the unbroken lineage, of this text, from all the way from India. And then the other one is, the other, is to leave imprint. So every time when you, read, and then you read with the Sanskrit title, so you are reading the Sanskrit language. You're saying the Sanskrit language. So when you say that, it leaves imprint in your mind about the Sanskrit language.
And then Jala Kirichimo Mandawa, that she was at a was, and not shut that Latan was. Tina on the Sanskrit Kete, and Sanjay Chun the choose, and it's so Tawachim Chu the Tikano Sowainza, and the Kete Shirachewa. What the Suzuka Pacha, which is.
So, so if you leave imprint in that language, then later, when you study that, because you have the imprint, you will easily study it. You will easily learn. And that's the reason, because it said that the same during Buddha Shakyamuni's time, when he taught, he taught in Sanskrit language, especially the Mahayana teachings. He taught in Sanskrit language, and then in the future also, when Buddhas come, they will teach in the Sanskrit language. And if you're familiar with that, then when you leave imprint, then you learn it easily, and then when you know it, then you can receive all these teachings and you will understand it easily.
Oh, then the Kela Pacha, Jella Shiranju, which is the song it was.
So it is in order to leave imprint in your mind on that, about that language, and also to receive the blessings, the unbroken, the lineage, the blessings and of that.
Okay? Tadia goes on. Then Peki can Indian General, Monajan Gola, Peki the Peki Shago was. They might another. Tisan Javan to song to us. Yes.
Yeah, so Geshe say maybe nowadays when you have a Tibetan and English translation, then you should also put in Sanskrit language and in Tibetan language, the name, just the name of the title, just the title of the text, and then say it in Tibetan language, and then says, and so Anila was saying that to show that that's the source, the source is from the Tibetan, scripture, and then you can put that in English also.
Tisan Javan to song to us. This time he told this. The Gardo, not you chat on, you don't check you at Chatham, going to tell thing in the budget, Peke, and Dele Yard, budget to do song to us.
So, then by reading, the title in Tibetan, you can also leave an imprint in the Tibetan language. So, I was just telling Geshe jokingly, so maybe, I don't know it's important or not, because in the future, we're not sure the Buddhas who come in the future will teach in Tibetan language or not. But, but nowadays, like his Holiness always says, the language in which, the whole Tibetan, or whole Buddhism, and the whole Buddhism is held is in Tibetan language. So it's all, all the Buddha is translated so in other languages, maybe they have this teaching, this teaching of the Buddha, but not other teaching of the Buddhas, But in Tibetan language, there's all the teachings of the Buddha. The complete teachings of the Buddha is in Tibetan language. So if you study and learn Tibetan language, then you will be able to understand all the teachings of the Buddha.
No. You don't want to study. There's some places, the Varanasi, one Tibetan college, they learn Sanskrit, but usually for another monastery, they don't study. Yeah.
What is the relationship between the Sanskrit language and the Tibetan language metaphysically?
No, they're not special, relationship, but because Buddha gave the teachings for Sanskrit language, because the Sanskrit, the books really Sanskrit. Then the Tibetan have to translate for Haru.
Nothing special, just like any kind of language, So now that all the teachings is available in Tibetan, like it was in Sanskrit, now it is all all available in Tibetan language.
One isn't considered purer than the other.
Why is the Tibetan language?
A few weeks ago, I recall that one great teacher, insisted that the teaching be translated into Tibetan so that it could, because it was more precise. So is one language more precise than the other?
오늘 저는 가서 당하죠. 그냥 경우는 손을 쳤다. 백교톤에 대한 아주 최대 상마 발주쇼를 가서 백교 책을 다 백교라 책사장 알았어. 최선. 다 변에 인지결라 최선 책사장 알아라. 그냥 아주 렐라우지 샤브한테 변에 천지 저바이나 인지 털자 가보라. 가서 실단 달게 책 알아라. 나 등산 등 가서 경우는 손을 쳤다. 등산 때 무슨 무시 됐어. 이거 맞지. 다 실타데 단다 이거 말았어. 이제 거다 되는 거 좋아요. 매워. 알아? 나시다. This was that teacher time as a peggy that Shanda get a touch vessel at number choices. The teacher not such a
야, 근데 빅은 세니가 콜로서 지어서 봐지 백이나 시원하지 인지다 특심 맞추 용어서 말was 다 체리 발랍초 그래서.
So yeah, you can say Tibetan language, especially in that sense, in a sense that it can be translated. I mean, all the teachings of the Buddha that is in Sanskrit language can be translated into Tibetan. But it's hard to find in English. For the Buddhism, for Buddhist studies, so Buddhist studies, you can say the Tibetan language is the best, to carry all the meaning, all the words and the meanings, of the Buddha's teaching that was taught in Sanskrit before.
And 팀에 셔당 안에 나주대 끼리모 뭐 가야 된다. 가나 딱 산지 좀 내내 그 송대 산케게 야간에 갑툭수 저러래서. And you
can say also because it was translated directly, from the Sanskrit into Tibetan, and therefore you can say special. Like whereas the English, maybe that from the Tibetan, from Sanskrit to Tibetan, then Tibetan to English, like that. So there's nothing in between like that. So it was directly translated from Sanskrit to English, into Tibetan. And that's why it is special, because otherwise, Buddhism has already flourished, in China before it came to Tibet. And they didn't translate from China to Tibetan, Chinese to Tibetan, but rather, translated directly from Sanskrit, to Tibetan. So in the commentated teachings of the Buddha, and there are like 200 something volumes of the scripture, that's the commentated translation of the commentated teachings of the Buddha. And so Geshe was saying most of them are all translated directly, from Sanskrit to India. So to Tibetan, Sanskrit language to Tibetan language. But there are maybe 1 or 2 volumes that they couldn't find in the Sanskrit language, and so they had to translate from that Chinese language.
어디 근데 다 간지마지 다 나출로로 제라 다 백개의 야수를 해서 이미 진짜 갔나 아니 디나게 지 가고 세니 꼴로 제라 백개 그 단임 뭐지 인지가는 용도면 넣었어.
And so so anyway, to study Buddhism, the best language is at current time, at present time, the Tibetan language has comes out to be the best one, because it carries all the meanings, the Buddha's teachings. So like His Holiness also mentioned, especially studying the philosophy, where you do the debates, the terms that we use in debate, to debate, to debate. There's such terms, and those cannot be translated into English. You have to go on explaining what it means, all these things. Just by with a single word or two, you can't, say answer those questions. And so it's difficult with that. And His Holiness also mentioned about there we talk about the possibilities. So the 2 things, how many possibilities they have. Something that can be both of them, something that can be either or neither, and so forth. So that kind of those now are translated into English. And there are other things, where we use, simple words like yes, no, these are still not really. Just no doesn't carry that meaning, But in Tibetan we have those words, that you can easily use, and but in English you still don't have that. So therefore, Tibetan language is the best language to study Buddhism.
If you guys want to debate with the philosophy, you can debate with Anila.
In English.
She studied philosophy couple 2 years like that. Therefore, you can debate with. Otherwise, little difficult. Anyway, now that ginger and kind of jaga ke shaka ginger career na kela shela juba ani karo. Kela pacha juba jela shela juba kuba res te chukutu la so chete res.
Yeah, so to show that it has the authentic source, the title, the Sanskrit title in Tibetan text, is to show that there's authentic source, and to leave imprint in the language, and then also to receive blessing in your mind. So that's the meaning. So that if you think, there's the importance of that. And so, therefore, when you study the text, so you have to study the text that has authentic source. Otherwise, there are so many texts, and there's no way you can study all of them, and many of them can be confusing also. So engaging in the deeds of Bodhisattva, the title of the text, is given. The name is given, by referring to its subject matter. So the subject matter of the book, is the bodhicitta, and so it talks about, bodhicitta.
Okay.
So now, next time, try to remember, when people ask you, what is the reason that we have Sanskrit title in a Tibetan text or English text, then you should be able to answer.
Not like that, or maybe that, not like that, just yes, that.
And then after that, he says, so here it says, reverently bowing to the Sugatas, right? And I pay homage, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And so this one, this is like the translator's, homage. The homage, by the translator when they were translated, from Sanskrit, to the Tibetan.
내가 그거 뭐 보여서 아래 가르선다 이제 다시 비치래서 다 소소 내가 사침보다 야 받침마요 제대로 땅도 소문을 따고 그러고.
And so this here it says the homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the translator. So this is not the text, right? It's the translations, translator's homage. And so the purpose of the translator paying homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas is to bring success, in the translation. And so by paying homage, you create the merit, and then with that merit, you'll be able to successfully translate all these teachings. And also, not only that, by also looking at the homage, to whom you pay homage. Here it says Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Sometimes it could be something else, right? To great compassion and so forth like that. But here it says homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So by looking at the homage that was paid to, you can see what subject matter it is. So can you tell what subject matter it is by looking at the homage that was paid to? What?
It's Bodhisattva, so the Buddha and the Bodhisattva, so that my interpretation is the text will be about Bodhisattva ways of life.
자주 강사를 상계도 전에서 찾아서는 또 자주 쌤이 고랭 그랬어.
대랍 초리나 다 간조 가는 간조 냠내가 가르쳐야나 간조 냠내 쳐야라 산지기 추리 가는 또 비추다 롱 주인데 그러고 산지 추리 되니면 매워서 또 비추다 롱 주인이.
So in the Buddha's teaching, we can say there are two, the realized teachings and transmitted teachings. So the transmitted teachings are the teachings taught by the Buddha. Right? So all these scriptures, all the teachings taught by the Buddha. And then the realized teaching is the practice of the practice. practitioners.
대는 거 제주들에
So that is the most important one.
가르잖아. 라왔음. 선지라고 등지라 싫어. 대섬라 다 라왔음라 그래. 라왔음. 대 제주 조들이 냠냠 조들이.
And so the practice, and then when we say the practice, what are the practices, right? We do. So we do the practice of the three trainings: the training of morality, training of concentration, and training of wisdom. So those are the main trainings.
다 대지들이 제주 조 등지라고 제주 시기 그래서.
And so from here, so when the homage is paid to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that shows that the subject matter, the main subject matter of this text, is related with the training of concentration.
대나다 등지라고 냠네 조 생에 대 상주선바서를 해서 상지다 상주선바인다 상지다 상주선 얘나 콘주 샤지라고도 스님이라고 냠네 매집은 말이나 조 등지라고 냠네 징이들
상주는什么뜻이에요?
상지도 신이도 어떤 일을 잡다로 근데 다 상지도 상주 선반도 조 등의 냠네 시기 요래서 이나 라와 신바지 냠네 매집은 말이에요.
So the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they mainly practice the concentration, the training of concentration, mainly that, but of course they do other practice also, but mainly they practice the concentration.
어떤데나 아니 가선다. 상지도 신이도 마탐절라 샤달로서 대주 간지나 대주의 대내서 가는 게 아니 안 도디 되는 연바. 라와서 있는 게 등이 라와지 조식이 봐 고고 그랬어요. 고요랬어.
And so by the homage that was paid to, like here it's a homage is paid to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So by looking at the homage that was paid to, you can see what subject matter and which category of the teachings of the Buddha that it falls to. So by looking at this homage here, which is homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, yes, the subject matter of the text is going to be the training of the concentration, and the teaching that falls into the category of the baskets of teachings on discourse.
You understand? It's too difficult, too complicated. It's okay. What? Yeah.
Just a question about
Whether say this book was about the training on wisdom, what would the homage have said instead?
게시되다 먼저 그래서 차 타서 저러. 근데 내가 상계도 전som 탐조 찾아서 베나다디 가서 시라고 냐면 땡긴 또 땡기나 시라고 냐면 또 저저서 또 땡기나 하나 수로 차차 그랬어.
잠배하나 샤다로 송그랬어.
So will be to Manjushri. So I pay homage to Manjushri.
잠배하다 샤랍글하러 왔어.
So like Manjushri is the Buddha of wisdom, right?
근데 난 잠배하나 샤다로나 대지되게 제자대 샤랍길라가 임바. 제지대 대지도 녜메되는 임바 또 그랬어.
And so if you see that homage is paid to Manjushri at the beginning, from there you can say, oh, this text is going to be explaining about the training of wisdom, which falls under the category of the baskets of teachings on knowledge.
Okay, but this thing is a little bit more complicated. Just they come to here, then I have to also a little bit explain. Yeah, you have a question?
I just wanted to know for morality.
아니 강제가 사사로 해나는 단 대회가 나트럼이라고 도지 시골에서
To the great omniscient one.
그리고 담전 제바 상제래 대회 랍지가 냠을 또 담보송에도 상제라고 왔어.
And so the great omniscient one is the Buddha. So the Buddha is the one who taught the training of morality at the beginning.
어디는 다 상제가 아니 추사는 뒤도도잖아 라와서 만나게 그랬어. 대제야층이 대지 만들어 숨도 왔어.
So all the teachings of the Buddha can be combined into these three trainings, and then those category of teaching which which uses one of these as their main subject matter. So the three baskets of teachings, right? The basket of teachings on Vinaya and of the discourse and of the knowledge, and so these three categories of teaching takes one of these training as their main subject matter.
Okay. 대선도 빼면서 있는 것이 뭐랬어. 가로 들으려와. 대선 빼면서 되는 것이 뭐랬어.
And so these three are very, very important. The training of morality, concentration, and wisdom.
셔럽이 나와서 가르나. 다 간지 몇십 못 봤어요. 간지 10이 리퍼들 셔럽이 나와서 기로 와서. 간지 안도 내가 가르치는 마시 받는 것도 제 간지 고로서 기로 와서.
the training of the wisdom, and experience about the wisdom, right? So the wisdom is the one that knows. The wisdom is the mind that knows the things. And so if we don't know, then we won't be able to do it. Or we might do it in a mistaken way, right? So in a wrong way. So not knowing is a big problem. And so therefore knowing is very important.
배차셔와나 네 레데 잘라다야 히르도 잘다 줘도 저러나 가들라서.
So for example, if someone were to ask you, what this prayer wheel is made of, whether it's made of metal or made of wood, what will you say?
What do you think? Are you sure? You think that? Everyone? Are you sure?
Yeah, I've touched it.
You touch it. Anyway, 다 시래라는 문제 가지들은 내 신도 쫙 가린 바 소소 타 맞지 발은 것도 될 모델 들어.
Yeah, because you know it. Because you know it, right? No? Therefore you don't have ignorance towards it, whether it's a wood or a metal. But if you haven't known it, you haven't touched it, you haven't known it, then you are ignorant to that, right?
Right? Ignorance 들다. 단다 전화속 차상. 단다 배이. 배나 까까. 카드 간대지 뭐 봐서 저도 망체 카드 이게 간다지 속다 간다지 와 간가 뭐 돼서 될 머리 받아야 돼.
So anything that we don't know, is ignorance, right? So many of you who don't know the Tibetan alphabets, right? So if you don't know the second alphabet, like a ka, what's the ka and how it looks like and what is the shape of it, what's the design of it. If you don't know that, then you are ignorant to that.
For example, me, I can say spelling, maybe constitution. I can say the word, I don't know how it's spelling.
So I'm ignorant to that. Ignorance to me. So whenever I come to learn the spelling of that, then I have freed myself from that ignorance. And so whatever activity that we have in this world, if we don't know that, that's ignorance. And that which knows, is the wisdom. So in the wisdom, especially the discriminative wisdom, and which can discriminate what is good and what is bad. So knowing what is good and knowing what is bad is very important.
다 대하고 zaman 수중기 다티 수준의 샤바 샘 용문배 샘 두자고라 만들어 샘티 야보시원자나 다 수준의 샤바 수돈 텀바 샤바서 샤라고 코 시자마나 다 수중 코 수중세 되고 송식이 여러 봐 수돈 텀바 봐.
So when the wisdom knows that, then the ethical mind or the morality will do it in a proper way. The ethical mind or the morality means a mind that does the things in a proper way.
배차잖아. 트름스 인지미지 자와다 안에지 너마로 고고 말. 트름스 가리나 간지 샤와 많이 받들라. 수 록체네. 수돈 더 마셔봐도 트름스랍 쳐그래.
So the moral deeds, right? The moral action. And so when we do something properly, that's called the morality, right? So this is a proper action, this is improper action. So doing the proper action is the morality. So all the vows fall into that category. Right? So vows tells us what to do, what not to do, and how to do, and so forth. Right? So, so this the vows, is not only referring to the vows of the monks and nuns. So any kind of vows that we have, or any kind of things, proper things that we have to do, is a morality. Right? So therefore, it's not only monk and nuns thing. It's something that can be practiced by everybody.
Today is the 마비시와 배나 마비시와도 두자로 해보 말해 와서 된다 혈압기 마비시나 야보 만든 거 하고 이러 와서 혈압기.
And so, for example, like a lying, is bad, right? So, whether it's a good or bad is understood by who? Wisdom, right? So we know wisdom knows. It's the wisdom mind. Of course, it's a mind, but it's a wisdom mind that knows, whether it's good or bad.
그러와 다 마비시와도 수도 못한 말이야. 마시와도 수도 더 말해봐.
And so lying. The lying, when you engage in the act of lying, that act, is what? Improper act, right? Like lying is improper, so no lying is proper act. So that's the morality.
Okay? 그런다 수든 덤바시 받을 수름스. 다 들리니까 수도 많다만 영어도 가지나 소주가 샘 요모가 온다 샘 나포 맞아 와인다 샘 여보 다보자 그래 근데 샘 템보치고는 띵이전스
And then, so why you, even if you know it, can you still act in proper way? Cannot. You cannot, right? Of course, we know all these things, but can we do that really? No, we cannot. We need a stable mind to do that. So that's why concentration is important.
Okay?
So concentration is the stable mind. So there's mind that's stable. Okay, you're supposed to do this, you should do this, you know. And you should not do this, you should not do. So that's a mind, stable mind, and that's a concentration.
You understand the context? Right? Are you guys lying sometimes? When we kid, always lie, right? I lie with my parents all the time. You know? Are you guys lie? Sometimes, right? Anyway, oh, Tendi inza kanji ani karol lamlawas mi nyamlen lu dene tani chanye sa chinga yeso jiwas ani lawas nyamle chabala dene sa chanye chego res treza techinde tan dodi dene chaden de lang loju chego salawase.
And so, so in order to practice these three trainings, you have to study the three baskets of teachings. So three baskets of teachings, which mainly explains or describes about these three trainings.
Okay, it's too complex. It's all right. It's
And so and then this teaching, the guided Buddhists was for the teaching of the baskets of teachings of discourse. So falls into that category.
다 자가도서 뭐 보여. 쇼킹 나오는 하나나로 뿌리라지 빠르치체네 대링아지 레까지 람도 용어 쇼서 거래가 자기로 받지 마요. 내 집어res. 나때 지 답파 벽에 인지가로 상득에 벽을 받자고데. 저거원자 다 이제 다시 metida 술아져 자기 상계도 상조서 만나러 자기 마루빠나로 치스 받지 마요. 치스 대 점로도 집에는 쏘는 거 소문보다 쏘는 거 소야 보잖아. 아니 쏘는 데에 매일 만나면 접스 다 받지 용어로 왔어.
So, like in the Hindu tradition, they go to the temples, and they make offerings, lamps, it's same in the Christianity, right? In temples, people, when they go to the temples or churches to make offerings, of incense or candles, they pray, right? Oh, may I be able to have this? May I not face this and that and so forth, right? So they always, pray something. So you're putting your hope on that holy object or being to accomplish your purposes. So, and the same is very similar to here. So here, the translator is paying homage, to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in order for him to be successful in translating this teaching. So, by paying homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, he creates the merit, and through the merit, through the power of merit, he'll be able to accomplish, the task of translating the text.
자학에서 특주보디 된다. 아니 이거도 냠내 채wan도 된다 하고 거 가린도스나 상처 생비가 쇼비가 샤와. 다 그럼 주비가 샤와. 드비 샤와도 가리임 봐. 대하고 거도 와서. 된다 나눠서 되는지 제고예레스.
And so just by looking at the title, the deeds, of the Bodhisattvas, right? And so that, from there we can understand, the three activities of the Bodhisattvas I mentioned. The engaging activities of engaging, accomplishing, and then the result of accomplishing. And so therefore we should always try to meditate on loving kindness and compassion, and we should spend more time on thinking about those.
And 소주가 샘 용어가 완도 만들어진 데 송고래 송화체고래.
And we should protect our mind and not let it fall under the influence of the delusions.
용어가 샘스나 간질라고 그랬으나.
So what is the deluded minds? What are the deluded minds? 용어 샘, no?
저 용어 샘.
Anger, attachment, jealousy.
Ignorance, attachment, anger.
They're all right.
Jealousy.
Hands. 간질 샘 강아지 제 소소 맞지와지 나더라 용어 샘스나 보래스.
So any kind of mind upon arising brings unhappiness, right, or disturbance in your mind, then that is a delusion.
텐데가 텐데기 샘 텐데야 막 수수 가디나 강 톱도시 수수기라 샘등인데 맞아왔지 답시죠 그래서.
So whenever some kind of mind, arises in your mind, and that brings, uneasiness in your, being, then that's a delusion. So you should understand that, this must be a delusion. I should not let it dominate me.
그리고 배나 시전의 장소 강한 미야볼 그만한 그 잡아잡는 강한 손도 맞지 않아 봤어. 이나 시전에 이나다 너무 마무리가 동네에 저게 될 거디나.
So in general, we are all okay, right? We are all good people. We don't kill people. We don't, steal others' possession. We don't tell big lies and so forth, right? But we have these delusions arising in our mind all the time.
그래서 가디는 게 납고요. 다 생대로 쫓아오는 수수절이야. 이제라 너무 간디 슈체근도 소소치 따고 그래서. 가리 슈체나 슈체데 때도 용어가 답신도 누더면 something 오래 되게 좀 그래서.
So as a result, it's the outcome of studying Dharma, or studying here. What you should be able to think is that be able to see which one of these delusions is arising more strongly in your mind, and then try to, avoid that.
근데 영어가 제도 안에 사제 상처 선박인들을 잡어요. 그래서.
And then in order to be able to do that, then you can, take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
오케이. 일단 남바지 임바이나다. 남바지 매너도 인지고 사지 잡는 거만 간지 샘 용어만으로 제거를 왔어.
And as a Buddhist, you can take refuge. If you are not Buddhist, then you take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But, however, you have to, make sure that your mind doesn't fall under the influence of the delusions.
수수 샘 용어를 원하는 채는 술 내거든나. 수수 시대인 좀 되는데 때 맞이 했을라 버려서.
So if you follow the delusions, right? If your mind follow the delusions, then what will happen to you is it will, destroy your peace of mind. It brings the harm to yourself. So therefore, you should not fall under the influence of the delusions.
Okay, I think talk too much. I think this is 어다다 이 담보니라 그 몸이 랍대게 몸을 라대지 저도 간지 하고가 있지. So
the reason I talk too much, is to make sure that you understand it. So I talked a lot about this, just to these two lines of the text, is to try to make it easy for you to understand.
And 지금 가서나 담보 당도 자게다 부디다 아야들은 특히 로션 제대로 다티 갈라는 도스나 되게 상주 선배가 아니 레칸들이 제거다 안지랑도 대 제거다 생각도 다 라비 그랬어 봐.
So engaging in the deeds of bodhisattvas, so that itself, shows what kind of deeds the bodhisattvas engage in, and then that's the kind of the deeds that you should engage in also.
오케이 다 되고다. 아니 남중아도 직직 인사다 니니 인사다 간다고 원들이 인사다. 내 말다. 내 누수 제거다. 내수 용어도다. 다 상주 선배 다니 고라인 바이다 고랑데 라바로 왔어.
And so here it tells exactly what it is, right? This is how you practice bodhisattva. This is how you practice bodhicitta. This is how you bodhicitta. These are the benefits that you have of generating bodhicitta, and so forth, right? This is explained clearly because it is explained by the bodhisattva himself, right? So who is a bodhisattva himself, and so there's no kind of suspicions or doubts. And think, maybe it's like that. Maybe it's like that. No, it's not. There's no such thing like that. Everything is very clear. This is how it is. This is how you do it.
대 야보 영화라 안에 다 상지 주기는 손에 잠도하고 제거래. 제전에 야보 이제 레바자다 고치거래.
And so, in order to be able to understand that, then you can, pay homage, to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So, if you want to take refuge, or if you want to rely on somebody, then you should rely on the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
가르드나 만두 상지 주기는 이체 야보에나 고수 강한 랍샤는 얘기가 대년은 강수 람가 야보이로 그랬어.
So, if we rely on the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or believe in them, and then we will, do whatever they say, right? So if we do whatever they say, then they will all be good.
Okay? 진짜 때다면서 상지 다 첨보를 추이게 되죠. 제거를 나오면 가는 군도 야보라 그래. 난도 야 공걸 랍자는 있나? 나랑서 대화 통도 그래.
So that is the refuge, the taking refuge, relying on them. It's not that if you pray to them, they will do something and your life will be perfect. It's not like that, Why we take refuge in them? Because they explain these things. And if we follow their advices, then it will be good for us. Therefore, we can take refuge in them.
그리고 먼저 배나 멤버가 가야 보냐나 먼저 지나가는 참 멤버 가야 보냐고 들라고도 왔어. 저도 딱 먼저 내려 가게 빼냐게 왔어. 가르치는 멤버까지는 냠바에나 년에 수수 멤버 랍제트 수수 냠바는 수수 나달라 자기 왔는데 대체 내가 데려봐.
And so here we listen to the advices of the doctors very well, right? So whatever the doctor says, we try to do that way, and we get better because of listening to the advice of the doctor. And so it's because of it's not like doctors make you cure, but because you follow the advice, you listen to them very well, you did just like they said, that's how you get better.
그리고 그냥 가서 리포트 빼면서 짜쳐 보러 왔어. 근데 doctor 저런 데 꼭 올라나가서 오야서 꼭 저기 왔어.
So we listen to so much that even we let him take part of our bodies, right?
Right.
Even though we consider it's very precious to us, but when doctor says, he say, okay, you can take it.
그래. 생안도 미치기 줄라고 중간에 가르치 안 동가 가라는 거 줄라고 봤어.
Otherwise, we will not even let others touch our body.
그래. 근데 인자 대 가르치는 아주 다른 소소 대화도 연외치도 다른 강의가 왔어.
And so that's because we want to be happy. For our own happiness, we listen to doctor's advice, right?
근데 인자 당 대가도 내가 대화를 왔어. 내가 이거 되게 대화를 왔어.
However, that is just a temporary happiness, right?
다 상제도 전체서마다 때는 대화. 아니 때도 동아 가는 고위 동아 때를 타발라 샤와도 야고 말때 맞지 않았어. 샤와도 내 제거라서 랍자전 소소 랍자는 냐나 소소 대화도 독견도 따뜻이 냐고 그렇게 전부레스 이제 데려다서.
Listening to the advices of the doctors is only brings a temporary happiness, but listening to the advices of the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha will bring everlasting happiness. Yeah? And so therefore we should definitely listen to their advice and do just as they explain.
뭐도 저렇게 산지 까마니는 저런 야라지 않고 대랑 말이 들어와.
So it's not like you have to believe in Buddha or follow Buddha's advice, otherwise you'll go to hell. It's not like that, not because of that. If you follow his advice and you do good yourself, then you will be not born in the hell.
다 대레 누드무대야 수수 따지 쳐거다.天공의 원에 말해왔어. 수수 르바가 따지 쳐거면서 다 지금 랍샤르 된지 다 이치 쳐 말했어.
And so you don't have to believe just because this is how it is said or who said it. No, doesn't have to believe in that way. That you have to check again, yourself by using logics and reasons, and you can see whether it's really true or not.
아니天공에 나오더나 아니 수수 되냐면 치무더나 아니 굿바스 코라 내가 그 말했어.
So by checking, if you find it's true and beneficial, then you practice it. If not, you can just say goodbye to it.
오케이. 그래서 오늘 손도 로종도 빼면서 개침버리셔. 관계 로종 제공도 없어.
Like his own lesson always says, it is very important to study. Everybody should study.
로종치는 맞아봤지. 로섬 나왔음 삼대대나. 시전에 때 다야 야보셔라 그랬어. 나 로종치면서 마트에서만 직전에 담게나 뭐 공로 챘로서 저도 챘로서 맞아 치는 용인인가 요도스.
So if you haven't studied but just practice, without studying, you practice for 3 months, 3 years, 3 days, like that. 3 months, no, 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, right? So if you do that, and that's very good. Doing that is very good. It's unbelievable. Not something that can be done by anybody, right? So it's very, very good. But if you haven't studied, then sometimes you come out of the retreat, and then you come out of with arrogance, saying, "Oh, I have done 3 years retreat like that." Then that's not good, right? So that's a sign of not having studied. So if you have studied and understood, then you will not become like that.
배차잖아. 디상 순종나라야. 나 로섬 선생 대사바 인세. 아니 베게 다루 제대니 소소 용어도 왔어. 근데 랍던 거라다니 내가 이거 가서 똑똑하게 봤어.
And so some people they put into in the email or on a Facebook. Right? So I have done 3 years, 3 months, 3 days retreat. And so you don't have to tell that, right? If you're done, that's very good. Just by seeing at the way they tell, just by seeing why they told, shows that they have some arrogance of having done that.
Okay, I'm not saying that people bad, but usually one I met a couple months ago one Chinese lady. She said she did 3 years retreat. I said, what do you do? She said, I did 3 years retreat. What are you doing? What are you done? Just stay at home, then recite some mantras. Of course, that's good. You recite the mantras. The main purpose is that something a little bit change your mind. But that shows you have not very knowledge. This is a special happen to Western also Asia country. And someone if you meditate in the morning, you do enlightenment morning, come enlightenment evening. That kind of
Instruction.
Then people misunderstand, then try to, then they come up, they say, some people also say, I wasted my life. I wasted my life.
Wasted my life.
Today, other countries, they don't study very well. Therefore, Buddha said, don't blind faith for me. Is correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is my experience, but it's true or not, you can check. Okay? Let's not talk too much. You have any questions? Yes?
Geshe, you mentioned cultivating wisdom. Sometimes we meet people that are very, very, very intelligent. Okay? We see in the news, maybe kings or presidents, these are very intelligent people. But sometimes very intelligent people don't really see right or wrong. And sometimes even worse, maybe they see right as wrong and wrong as right.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is the cause for otherwise very intelligent people to not have discriminating wisdom? Is it a lack of morality conjoined with ignorance? Is it just purely lack of concentration?
This is ignorant.
Or is it something else?
Ignorant.
네, 이gnore
지난 코로나 배직과 너무 쉬우셔라. 네, 장보 쉬우고 너무 쉬우셔서 이나다 다들 내가 가서 주베시라 매바 인자. 다 건조 다 주베시라 매바 인자 다 건조기 약보단 독자 하마고 하지. 근데 독자들 약보 인사는 독자 제샤고라. 근데 간데 가르 다디 시랍 요발라드는 가서 소름 매버에게 시랍 요네다 가서 땡즈 매버드네 가데나스.
시럽 요르다이나 시럽 요 거다때 매바치. 다 시동 시럽 요바치. 이나야치. 레닌 제베 시럽 요고 매버러스. 시동 시럽 요바치.
So, yeah, they have any wisdom, right? Because they're very intelligent. Intelligence is a kind of a wisdom. So there are many different kind of wisdom. Anything that we know is a wisdom. And the wisdom of knowing this, and the wisdom of knowing, the word wisdom of knowing a computer wisdom. So all these different kind of wisdom. So even though these people have some wisdoms, of course, to be a president and a prime minister, you must have a great amount of wisdom, but they don't have the other wisdoms, like maybe they don't know how to fix computer, so that kind of wisdom they don't have, right? And then and so in terms of the Dharma, we have to have the wisdom that knows what is wrong and what is right. So they don't have that. That's why they end up making mistake in doing the things wrong, thinking that that's right.
맨날 미세가 대상한다 가로 너쇼바도 메즈비를 봐야보 너무도 와서 이나다 레니 나만 집이 시럽때 뉴뉴랜드 와서 레니.
So especially in the West, because people are all educated, they have lots of knowledge, they have lots of wisdom, they have a lot of knowledge, but they still don't have that wisdom that's able to discriminate what is wrong and what is right.
근데 야 된소야 디콜라 싸모 당겨 말들어. 코랑 ngaja ta nyomoти onge 코랑 카운서마데 yen samsamada 노도로.
And of course, that also it depends on their belief, because they believe that they are right and they don't want to think they are wrong, and so then whatever they think, because they are right, they think they are right, so therefore whatever they think or do is right also, and they don't want to think that's wrong.
근데다 로종 티건 삼삼이야 ngaja 제거스. 어때요? 삼삼 맞잖아.
And so again, sometimes that knowledge, of knowing all these things makes you arrogant. So when you're arrogant, then you don't want to give away, and you always want to believe that you are the right.
어때서 나쁘게 두 마사발은 개는 말어서.
So until you get punched in your nose, you don't accept that.
그래서 빼졌어요. 그러나 로조 마무 채와래 고뇨 치던 약속이었어요. 고뇨 치되고 로조 약본 그랬어요.
So it says that somebody who messes up, or who makes mistake all the time, is better than somebody who knows a lot. Somebody who knows a lot, and if they really don't do it the right way, is worse than somebody who makes mistake. Because every time you make mistake, you're learning. Somebody who makes mistake all the time, every time he or she makes mistake, he's learning. So it's better.
Okay. Karo. Okay, yeah, that's enough. Any questions? Your question? Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned that if something happens and it creates a disturbance in your mind, that disturbance is a delusion, so it's creating more delusions. Now, if somebody walks up and punches me in the nose, I get angry that they punch me in the nose, So how is that how is that creating delusion? The fact that I react with anger at someone punching me in the nose. Because there's no reason for them there is a reason. But how does that anger create the delusion?
미치기다 그러는 나고를 박수쇼에는 아니 대니 저런 코너서 그라 난 코너 사와 되게 되네 간대지는 놈 벽이 어렸어 딱 놈 코너 사고 코너 준세 야다 여라 가서 미디 그 콜라 박수쇼라스 박수쇼는 코너 사고라 코너 사고 했는데 소 코너 사고 준세 야 보여라스 딱 코너 사고 되 간대지는 놈 어렸어
Example. Are you a kid? No, right? Fortunate. I'll give some example, okay? Someone has a kid. The kid hits your nose. Maybe kid until 10. But
So if you have a kid, right, who is about 2-3 years old, and then while playing, if he happened to punch on your nose, will you get angry towards your kid? Why not? He got punched, same thing, right?
Well, but 대차에는 가도 녀모공을 버간 대차병으로 수수드네 잡아. 아니 봐줘지 자가담나 그 말과 제거해서 녀모들 그 있다는 걸 그대로 봤어.
See, so you don't get angry towards your child because you love your child. You have attachment towards your child. But on the other person, you have anger. Because you don't expect that person to hit, and when that person hits, you don't accept that, and that's why you become angry. It's the same boxing. I mean, getting punched is the same thing, and getting the pain is the same thing. Whether it's somebody who like or whether it's your kid who hit you, it's the same. And so, for example, again, if you fall asleep while sitting there and then you fell down and then you hit your nose on the table or on a stone, will you get angry towards that? We don't think that, this thing is harming me, right? We don't think like that. So, but if it's a person, then we, create these ideas in our minds. Oh, maybe this person wants to harm me. Maybe this person doesn't like me, and so forth. So you're creating the delusion there. So getting hit, or getting punched, it's the same. In terms of getting hit or punched, it's the same. So, we have this kind of delusion more towards human being. Yeah? Maybe he's going to harm me, maybe she's going to do this bad to me and so forth. We don't think of that towards the animals, or like the dog or cat and cows, things like that.
Maybe do you have cat, dog? Or bird? Your bird? The bird bursts your nose. You get angry bird? Not really that. Yeah, this is, you think more, It's not easy you understand, they think on things. But slowly, you can just investigation yourself, then check, talk more, then 가정에서 질라인 봤어. 쏘쏘데 녀모데 나도 쉬지못 될 때도 있어.
So just like we discussed in the Wednesday teaching, it all depends on our grasping at the self.
Okay? Okay, yeah. Short question.
I'll try. So going back to the Yama and how we categorize or the subject matter of different teachings, and you mentioned that there's usually three different subject matters that we're concerned with: the teaching on morality, the teaching on concentration, and the teaching on wisdom. I've also heard of people categorizing them by wisdom and method. So the wisdom part of the practice and the method part of the practice. Also, I've heard, conventional bodhicitta and then ultimate bodhicitta. And one's emptiness, or one's about wisdom, and one's about method. And also, definitive meaning, or Dharma teachings that are definitive in meaning, and others that are interpretable meaning. And I guess my question is morality and concentration, those two, those are part of the method aspect of the path, right? Do we say those two are the method aspect of the path, and the wisdom is the wisdom aspect of the path?
Yeah, you can categorize in that way also.
Yeah.
The morality and concentration as a method, and then wisdom as a wisdom.
발신 쪽도 와서 디나라야 혈압이차니 답지차 싫어 와서 디다 띵에도 혈압이차 셴바도다 답지는 거로 와서
단단한 것도 소름다 땡겨진 일이야. 저랑 답지차 샤죠.
그래서 다 두시원 좀아야 또다 그것도 마야 띵에도 내가 봐 혈압차 반로 봐 혈압차 놓으서 띵에도 혈압이차 반로 아니 수름데 답지차
So when it is explained in the six perfections, so according to the explanation in the sixth perfection, this is the 4 part of the sixth perfection that are method, and the 2 part that are wisdom. So the first 4 six perfections, first 4 perfections are method, and then the last 2 perfections, the concentration and wisdom, are wisdom. So from that way of categorizing, then you can say the training of morality is the method, and training of concentration and wisdom is the wisdom.
Understand?
So yeah, you can categorize there are many different ways of categorizing in that way.
Okay?
So in short, it can be all combined with that method and wisdom like that.
Okay, like that. Now we stop. Otherwise, to talk.
Thanksgiving mandala offering. Saji perki shuksing me tokram ri rab ling shi ni de gien pa di sangye jing du ming te uwagi brokun nam dag chur pa shu Jetsun lame kutse rab ten ching nam katrin le chok chur ge padang lo sang tempe drun me sasum gi droe mun sel tag tu ne gyur chik idam guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami. Gene Tsongkhapa's final Lamrim prayer. From my 2 collections vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths to the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded course to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous, virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. The short, long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chen Rezig remain in life till samsara's end. The prayer that spontaneously fulfills all wishes. Ton yin ying je zung du juk pe lam che che sel ze gang chen ten droi kun chagna Pemo Tenzin Gyatso Suwa Debso Jeden Lundru Sho. Page 49, the short, long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Tub Tsul Chang Jing Jam Geng Yil Wei Tenzin Kyong Pel Wei Kun Zo Do Por Ze Chok Sum Kur Wei Leg Man Tu Drug Padak Sok Dul Je Gundu Jam Ten Shu. Dedication. Page 57, prayer of dedication. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme bodhimind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Page 75, Ming Sema. Mikmet se wei ter chen chen rezig dreame kien pe wang poi jang pel yang gang chen ke pe tsu gen song kapa lo sang dra pe jab la so luck.
Just to announcements, and then I'll have Sean make his announcement if you're okay. First, please watch the calendar. I'll try and send out notifications to the email list in time for snow cancellations. Issues like just parking on the right-hand side. I think, rule of thumb, just park on the right-hand side if you can. And the road to the back, Washington Street, is always wide open. There's a lot of space, and you just sneak in through the back gate, and then you can circumvent it. So anyhow, that's it. The next one is we've got Venerable to Children teaching this coming weekend. She's doing, on Friday night she's teaching about anger, and then on Saturday, Sunday, both days, it's on 12 links of dependent arising, emptiness, revealing. It's going to be a wonderful teaching. So, but if you cannot make it for both days, please come on Saturday. She does not want anyone to just simply join in for the Sunday teaching. You have to join for both days simply because of the complexity of the subject matter. I think that's it. So yeah, Tara Puja coming up on Tuesday with a big storm. Please watch out. It will probably be cancelled. I'll send out a notification and put it on the calendar. Thank you.
And it's that time of the year again. So, first of all, so that time of the year again, tax receipts. So you know what I'm doing this week. So what's going to happen is next week, so after February 1st, you're going to be emailing them out to everybody. If anybody wants yours printed out, please just reply back with an email message when you get it. Let me know. Or send me a separate email. Let me know that you want yours printed out. We'll mail it to you. Okay. Thank you so much for your generosity. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for all you do. And let's have a wonderful Buddhist. Thank you. Thank you. Have coffee.